Hello, I'm Anjaleka Kripalani, known to everyone as Angie. Angie's India is my show, which is about all the superheroes which have made India who she is. India is much more and deeper than what we all think, and it's all the individuals who've contributed with their success stories in making India the nation she is, be it corporates, businessmen, politicians, bureaucrats, sportsmen, film actors, and many more. Today, my guest is the great, the one and only Dr. Karan Singh. In your entire journey, seen Nehru ji, you have seen, of course, the style of functioning of Indira ji, then you have seen Manmohan Singh ji, Vajpayee ji, and now, of course, Modi ji. How would you see the different styles of functioning with respect to India and their policies with respect to Kashmir?
I have seen all the prime ministers from Jawaharlal ji down to Modi ji.
Yes.
Modi ji. Everybody has their own style.
Yes.
There is no laid down style for a prime minister.
No,
I was in Indira Gandhi's cabinet for 10 years,
10
sitting
years.
opposite her.
Okay.
So she had her own style of functioning, which, by the way, was not at all dictatorial. This is a wrong impression. That Indira ji was dictatorial, kisi ko bolne nahi deti thi. Not true.
She would let everybody speak their mind.
Too much sometimes. In fact, sometimes I would sit opposite her in the parliament room. I would say, Indira ji, chale aage. Let's move on. She'd get so stuck in people, you know. So it's opposite of what people think.
Somebody also once told me that she had a very soft side to her personality, and everybody thought that she was, you know, this.
No, I knew her very well.
Yes.
She loved wildlife, for example.
Yes.
I looked after wildlife. I was the progenitor of Project Tiger.
Oh, okay.
You know that I was the man who made the tiger the national animal. Pata hi nahi logon ko.
Yes, of course.
When I became chairman of the Indian Board for Wildlife, she asked me to do that. First meeting was just introductions. Second meeting, I discovered, to my surprise, the national animal was the lion.
Oh,
Do you realize that for the first 30 years it was the lion? हमने उस resolution pass किया, requesting Indira ji to turn the national animal from the lion to the tiger. तब tiger बना.
Okay.
So that is something also that I had. She was very softer side, you're talking about that. Now, let me say, Jawaharlal ji was my mentor, Jawaharlal Nehru. I read his books in Doon School, The Discovery of India, his autobiography. He was my mentor for 15 years. I knew him. हमारे गुरु थे. Indira Gandhi was a colleague. Modi ji is also remarkable. You see, it's very interesting, if I may say this, something new for you. The trajectory of Jawaharlal ji and Modi ji is almost parallel, although they are totally apart, poles apart ideologically. But Pandit ji bhi 3 elections जीते, 52, 57, 62. Modi ji bhi अब 2 जीत बैठे हैं, शायद तीसरी भी जीतते. वो भी जैसे ही घूमते हैं, मोदी जी वो भी घूमते थे. In those days there was no technological abilities, no, but he went everywhere. Vast crowds used to greet him. जैसे आज मोदी जी छाए हुए हैं ना, वैसे 15 साल के लिए पंडित जी छाए हुए थे.
So then why is the present government, or why are so many political leaders always targeting Nehru ji when you feel he did contributed so much and he was your mentor? So
he was my mentor, and he was the first prime minister. I mean, after partition, there was total chaos.
Yes.
I mean, lakhs of refugees from Punjab were streaming into India. At that time, if it had not been for Jawaharlal ji and for Sardar Patel, who was Deputy Prime Minister, Home Minister, so this country would have broken. Churchill had said, when we leave, India will break into 20 pieces. It would have done that had it not been for these two people.
So you feel that in all fairness and honesty, Jawaharlal Nehru ji and Sardar Patel ji should be really cherished and appreciated.
It's very unfair that people are attacking Nehru now. He may have made some miscalculations. He did make some. For example, even though he was my mentor, going to the United Nations for the J&K issue was not a good idea. It was Mountbatten probably who got him to do that. Similarly, underestimating the Chinese was not a good idea. Krishna Menon at that time was a defense minister. So, but apart from that, all the development, all the IIMs, all the IITs, all the nuclear programs were set up by Homi Bhabha in his and Vikram Sarabhai during Nehru's time. So you can't denigrate what he has done. You can criticize certain decisions, but it's wrong to denigrate him, which is being done.
But so when you say that he has done, he created the IIMs, the IITs, you can say put India together and held India together like glue, then don't you think that it's very unfair and more people should speak about what all he did and how his role has been important.
Yes, I agree with you.
Down even so many years, 50, 75 years down the line, and even should be known and reckoned with even maybe 100 or 150 years.
I agree with you. That's what we tried to do in the Nehru Memorial Fund.
Yes.
We brought out the collected works of Jawaharlal Nehru, and we have certain seminars and things. You're quite right, that's what should be done in the universities also.
I believe a lot of books in schools are now being changed and less is being written about Nehru ji or Indira ji. Now, I'm not, again, as I said, this interview is about all political parties, it's about an individual. So if you feel, which even I did not know till today, as when you told me that he held the infiltrators from Punjab and other states and put India together at
refugees.
Yes. The refugees, if I had to be corrected, put all the refugees together, then that is such a big role, because once you are the architect, you built India from scratch. How can you be criticized at this stage when India has reached, only when your base is strong, can you grow larger?
Well, we had the base of the British administration.
Yes.
But for free India, it was Jawaharlal ji who really set the tone.
Yes.
And Dr. Ambedkar was doing the constitution. Sardar Patel was doing the integration of the states. There were a lot of remarkable people at that time.
Yes.
Gandhi ji was just fading out. In fact, he was assassinated. But Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who presided over the Constituent Assembly,
yes.
C. Rajagopalachari, these were a set of Maulana Azad, a set of half a dozen really outstanding people at that time.
So you could say that Nehruji was like the CEO and the rest were his team.
Yes, that's it. So that's correct.
I think then in all fairness, we should appreciate it, and instead of making it more political and negative talk, should be appreciated and for a positive for the country. Not only today, but even maybe 75 years down the line.
I agree with you entirely.
And when it comes to Indira ji, what was her contribution?
Her contribution was basically, I was with her in her finest hour and in her darkest hour.
Okay.
The finest hour was the liberation of Bangladesh.
Oh, yes.
You can't imagine, your generation cannot imagine the euphoria that there was in India regarding Bangladesh.
Okay.
When the Pakistan army surrendered in Dhaka to General Arora and General Jacob, 64,000 soldiers were sort of demobbed, and they were and thousands of acres. So that was her finest hour. So she was the one who held on and held on and held on, and only when it was right she struck. Her darkest hour was the emergency. I was also with her at that time. I was with her through this 10 years.
Whole journey. And tell me, I'm sure that there was some reason that she would have to take this decision. Everybody talks that it was a wrong decision, bad decision. Somebody says it was.
That's a long story.
It's a long story. But in short, if I would just ask you, a person only gets pushed to a certain decision of this drastic nature if all your doors are shut in some way.
Basically, the judgment of the Allahabad High Court on a comparatively minor issue, unseating her, that began the whole process. Quite frankly, I don't want to sort of criticize the judiciary, but that judgment was, it was some very simple thing. Yashpal Kapoor's letter arrived 24 hours later, Huxley's letter, something very technical. On that, they unseated the Prime Minister. Now, that immediately brought all her life, she had this insecurity, growing up and all, with her, and then suddenly everything came back. And then advisors came in who said, now you must do this, you must do that. Indira Ji was very often guided by her advisors. When she had good advisors, she did well. When she had not so good advisors, she didn't do so well.
Okay.
to put it mildly.
Yes, yes, yes. So this decision you feel came because of some circumstances which pushed her to take this decision?
I think so.
Yeah, because if you
I'm not
say
justifying the decision,
yes,
but that is the reason.
you would know much more, and I'm sure you would not like to talk about so many personal details that which went on in government and what you shared. But in a hint, you're just saying that something pushed her to take this decision.
It was the Allahabad judgment.
The Allahabad judgment. So then she was totally, she should not be blamed again.
And then the opposition swooped down.
Yes.
They were all waiting.
Yes.
Morarji Desai, Jayaprakash Narayan, all these people, they were waiting.
Yes.
Unko mauka mil gaya, they all pounced on her.
Yes, that's unfortunate. Yes.
And naturally, then she thought she had to fight back, and then ultimately
she did.
resorted to this weapon.
Yeah. Okay. As you said, you've been a Rajya Sabha member. You've been the governor of Kashmir.
Jammu and Kashmir.
The governor of Jammu and Kashmir. You have also been a Lok Sabha member for 4 terms. So that's a huge number of years, maybe 30, 35,
40 years.
40 years. Yes. I would like to ask you is that what is the difference in the role of governors today from when it was earlier?
Governors are in fact representatives of the Prime Minister,
That's
of the
right.
President.
Yes.
And normally the governors are political appointees. When the Congress was in power, it appointed the Congress people wherever possible, and when now the BJP is in power, they have appointed BJP people. Now the role of the governor really just advise when necessary, be supportive to the Chief Minister, and preside over these convocations and other formal ceremonies. What happened in Bengal? Mamata Banerjee had her own politics, and the governor had her, he is now Vice President. So they were constantly at each other's throats. Now that is not a good thing for the Constitution.
That's
So
right.
the governor should really function in a constitutional manner. And in the strictly speaking, in the same way as President here has got to accept the advice of the Council of Ministers, the governor has also got to accept the advice of the Chief Minister. He can't overrule the Chief Minister, unless of course he does something blatantly
Drastically
against the
wrong.
Constitution.
Yes.
So I think the governor's role has been diluted very largely as a result of this dichotomy.
And to what extent do you feel like 50%, 70%, 30%? What
Very difficult to give it a percentage.
Approximate, of course.
But I don't know about a percentage, but basically we used to have situations where the governors and the chief ministers were openly against each other. Today that is so in Tamil Nadu, that is so in West Bengal, in several non-BJP governments, the governors are at daggers drawn with the chief minister.
But why do you feel that is happening?
Because that's the way the party is functioning that way.
Is it due to the central government, or is it due to the individuals not getting along?
Due to the central government.
So do you feel...
The governors are functioning at the behest of the central government.
So do you think that's in the interest of the nation, or
Well, it's not a
not
question
so
of
much?
interest of the nation. That's the way it is. That's the way the structure is.
Okay.
Governors are appointed basically by the president,
Yes.
which means by the government in office.
Yes.
And therefore they necessarily reflect the ideology of the ruling government.
Okay, okay.
And there's often a mismatch between that and because we are a federal system, remember.
Yes.
Federalism is a very basic concept of our constitution. And therefore there are these conflicts between the governor and the chief minister.
Since you've seen the whole journey from the time of India's independence, and you were just speaking of the constitution, I want to ask you, do you feel that, were you involved in scripting the constitution? Were you consulted?
No, I wasn't, but I was involved in the J&K constitution. Remember,
okay.
at one stage we had an actual constitution in J&K.
That's
People
right.
have forgotten about it now.
That's right.
But I called that Constituent Assembly into being. I signed the document to make it a law. So there, but not in, I was too young to be involved in the national constitution.
You're so deeply involved in politics and understanding
Political science has been my
political
subject.
science and all deep-rooted issues, much more than 95% people, or 99, I would say. I would like to ask you, do you feel that you must have read our Indian constitution really well, deeply? And do you feel that this new thing which is being talked about, the constitution is going to be changed, I don't know to what extent, Do you feel that our constitution is like our sacred Bible and should be kept intact?
Well, it has been amended 100 times, by the way.
Oh, okay.
The Bible, sacred Bible, has not been amended 100 times.
Yes, that's true.
So it is definitely a very significant text which is open to reorientation. That is why do we have 100 plus amendments?
That's right.
Because there is the capacity to amend that is built into the Constitution. It's a remarkable document, there's no doubt about it.
Yes, who made it?
Well, the chairman of the drafting committee was Dr. B.D. Ambedkar.
Okay.
But the drafters themselves, I remember Dr. Ambedkar once said, people say it is my constitution, it is really B.N. Rao's constitution.
Okay.
Sir B.N. Rao, who was with my father's prime minister at one time, in the old days, he was the main person who drafted that constitution. And Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, these two people. But of course, Ambedkar was the chairman and he became, as it were, the main person.
And of course, it was all then shown to Nehruji.
Well, not shown to Nehruji, he was involved in the process
in it as
all
well.
along.
So you feel these were the real architects of India,
Yes.
and of course, whatever they decided for the future and the industrial revolution and doing manufacturing at those days, as which was the theme when Nehruji started it, then do you think that was the correct path for India?
Because that's a different question, Anjali.
Yes.
There's nothing to do with the constitution.
Yes. Okay.
Constitution is a separate question.
Yes.
Whether what economic path we should have stopped was a different way. I think Jawaharlal Ji thought that until we have basic industries, we can't really become an industrial power. So he gave great importance to railways and to those sort of infrastructures, heavy industries and so on. Because if we had gone into consumer items immediately, we would not have had this ground that we have upon which we are now building.
So indirectly, can I say that this Made in India or Make in India was started by Jawaharlal Nehru ji?
Well, in a way, but it caught on later, but in a way it was started by him. He started all these institutions.
Institutions, yes, academically,
Academic and so on.
but also what about like banks, nationalizing banks?
That was done by Indira Gandhi, not by Jawaharlal Nehru.
So all these foundations today which we stand on are built by a lot, you would say, by Nehruji and a lot by Indira ji.
Yes, but Indira ji, in fact, now they've all been re-privatized.
Yes.
Indira ji took some rather drastic decisions at one time.
Yes.
And not all of them were very good, but still she won elections on them, which is the big thing.
Yes.
So that is an entirely different discussion, Anjali, what economic policy we should have done.
Yes.
That can't be answered in a single
this.
question.
But coming back to the question on constitution, do you think it should be as is right now, it's on the right track, or do you think minor changes is okay, but not too much?
It is a remarkable document. Mind you, the big thing is Supreme Court. Now, if you make changes which are against the basic structure, if you remember Keshavanand Bharati case, where the Supreme Court by 7 judges to 6 laid down the concept of a basic structure. They didn't spell it out, but they said anything against the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, what is the basic structure? Obviously, federalism, obviously democracy, obviously freedom of the press, obviously fundamental rights. And these are all basic structures.
That's right.
They can't be changed.
Yes.
So if anybody tries to change a basic structure, it will be shot down by the Supreme Court, like they shot down, for example, these electoral bonds.
Yes.
So, we have that built-in mechanism.
Yes.
That's the glory of this Constitution.
Yes.
Indira Ji tried to change it, she changed everything. When she lost the election, everything had to be brought back.
Yes. Okay.
That was an effort to totally destroy the Constitution and make it an individual sort of based Constitution that failed.
Right.
So there may be changes, but I don't think that this fear of a drastic change in the Constitution is likely. You never know what happens, but still.
But do you think, you've read it deeply, so do you think there doesn't really need change now? Because a lot of people are getting worried, and they don't say it openly, like businessmen and industrialists and different bodies, that if certain things are changed, it will affect their lives and their functioning of their businesses.
Well, it really depends what things they're talking about. Basic things, I think, will not be changed. But we have to, for example, this question of sexual harassment of women and of children. That was a new law that was brought in. So you could call it a change.
Yes.
It changed the Marriage Act has changed. So it's always open to change. Constitution is a remarkable document. It's not a static document. It's a dynamic document.
Okay, okay. Another question I would like to ask you is, you've been in the Congress for so many years and everybody talks of it as it's been the political force for the last 70 years and the last 7 decades or maybe more. Like you worked with Sonia ji, Rajiv ji, Indira ji, Nehru ji, Rahul ji. What is the difference in their style of functioning?
Again, you asked me that earlier and I said to you that there is no fixed style of a Prime Minister. Every
No, they were not Prime
has his own
Minister.
styles.
Rahul has not been Prime Minister. Sonia ji has not been
yet.
Prime Minister.
No.
I mean, the difference of in running the party or way of
You
functioning
see,
in
the
the party.
functioning is something entirely different.
Yes.
That is a different setup altogether. And some people were hands-on, some people were hands-off. Jawaharlal ji was hands-off. He let the party run. He never interfered too much in the function of the party, although he was the main figure. Indira ji, on the other hand, I think was a little more hands-on with the party.
Right. Okay.
Now,
Rajiv
is from my Doon school. He was a Doon school boy who became Prime Minister. So he had his own. He was technologically involved. He was the first one who talked about technology in the 21st century and so on.
Okay.
And Manmohan Singh was, of course, an economist, and he went out on a limb on this nuclear agreement with America.
Yes.
But otherwise, he stayed pretty much quiet and things carried on. So everybody had their own views.
And Sonia ji and Rahul now?
Sonia ji was the force behind Manmohan Singh. She had her own group of somewhat more leftist and liberal people. And she brought that, for example, the right to education, the right to question, the right to, all these right-based theories was Sonia ji's idea.
That was her contribution.
That was her contribution.
And was she hands-on? Like
she was running the party. She was chairman of the party.
Yes, of course. But as you said, Nehru ji let it run on his own.
No,
and
but she was not Prime Minister. She was president.
No, I'm
of the
talking
party.
of work like Congress.
She was
president
obviously hands-on because she was
very
Congress
long.
president.
Yes. And how do you feel of Rahul's style? I know
Rahul is still developing.
Yes. No, in the sense he was
like
the president for a short
like
time.
the Indian Constitution, it's a dynamic situation, not a static situation.
Okay.
I've seen Rajiv and Sanjay when they were children.
Yes.
I was 7 years older than them.
Yes.
And then I've seen Rahul almost from the time he was born. So he's grown a lot all these years.
He's evolved, you feel?
He has evolved, definitely, no doubt about it.
Most people feel the Bharat Jodo Yatra was really his
It was his idea.
turning point, his idea.
His idea. He matured during that yatra.
Yes.
Visibly matured.
Yes.
He was a different person by the time the yatra ended.
Yes.
I mean, his face was different, his beard, it's an extraordinary thing that he did.
Yes, and you do think that will unify the party in India in some way, maybe sometime?
Yes, I
Not
think
necessarily now, maybe?
I think so.
It
He
will.
still remains an very important factor in the party. And he is the most popular leader in the party. Kharge ji is the president. He's all right. He's respected. But Rahul is the real person who's more, and Priyanka.
Yes.
Both looked upon as.
So you do feel they will have a larger role, and
They will definitely have.
they have a larger role and to play in the years to come.
No doubt.
How do you see the Congress in the next 10, 15 years?
Well, I think that for one thing, if this India forum is stabilized,
Sure.
and if it performs reasonably well in the current elections, which we're in the midst of,
Sure.
then that will give a new structure. Congress will always be the biggest party in the India, obviously because it is the oldest and the biggest party.
Yes.
So Congress will have to learn to live with other allies, learn not only to look after itself, but also to be a little, as they're doing now, I believe,
Flexible.
in seat sharing, they're being much more generous than they were before. Previously, they used to say, no, Congress must get everything. Now they realize, by itself, Congress cannot stand against the BJP unless this India alliance works. So the Congress will change.
Okay, it will change and it will evolve in the years to come.
It should become an important opposition because in any democracy, Anjali, an opposition is very important.
Yes.
Whenever you don't have a strong opposition, then the ruling party gets totally, as it were,
complacent and they
complacent
can do,
and empowered.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Like the Congress was at one stage, like the BJP is now.
Yes. Do you ever see that the Congress should sooner or later, maybe after 10 years or 5 years, come back with a majority on their own?
On their own, without their allies.
Maybe a little bit, not, you don't need to.
Well, I don't know. It's too early to say.
It's too early
it
to
depends
say
how
right
it
now,
goes.
how it pans
There's the
out.
first time is the pilot project this time. Let's
Yes,
see kaise chalti
how
hai.
it works,
Then
yes.
we'll decide.
You married at the age of 19 and your wife was just 13. You spent your whole life from childhood till now always with her. What she inspire you to do? I know she was like your soulmate, but how would you describe her role
It's
in your
most
life?
extraordinary, we were, as you said, very young.
Yes.
And so we more or less grew up together.
Yes.
Because when we came to the house, there was nobody, no uncle, no aunt, no taya, no chacha, nobody.
Yes.
Just the two of us.
Yes.
So we had perforce to get together, to get on with each other, which we did. And as she grew, she matured. So at 13, she was just came direct from Nepal.
Yes.
She was always very intelligent, but this is a totally new world for her. Imagine at 13 being put out and suddenly put into another house.
Yes.
So she matured over the years. She was studying, she was painting. I had a tutor to teach her English, and another one came to do the sitar and so on. So we both grew. I did my own examinations. I was studying. Both of us were studying also. And then when she really attained maturity, as it were, when I became Sadr-e-Riyasat, she then became chairman of the State Social Welfare Board.
Oh, okay.
And began doing a lot of work in the villages.
Sure.
So she began stepping out there. And then when I came to Delhi, I mean, she was a tremendous hit in tourism, for example. So wherever we went in the world, she was so beautiful, as you know.
Yes, absolutely
and people
stunning.
just went berserk.
Yes.
In Italy, we had to run for our cars once. Everybody ran after saying, Bella, Bella.
Yeah,
you know how the Italians are. So she was a great asset to me. And not only was she an asset in my elections, in every election she came with me. All the 4 elections that I won, she was with me all the time, in the dust, in the grime, everywhere. And while I was doing my lecture, she was talking to a group of women, telling them. So she was very, I also often joke that I got more votes because of her than because of myself, which probably is true. And women used to come down from the villages, humne dekhna hai Yuvrani ko. Otherwise, women don't normally come out. We are in Jammu, so somewhat backward areas, and sab aate the. Your Honor Sahib ko dekhne, we were dekhne. They were keen to see us. So they came, and then I addressed them, and so I had that great advantage. So when we came to Delhi, then my first ministry was tourism and civil aviation, which meant traveling around India and traveling around the world.
Yes.
Because we had Air India offices everywhere and tourism offices. So there she was a great hit, whether it was Paris, whether it was Geneva, whether it was New York, whether it was London. So she was a great hit there. So she's been a great, and not only that, not only because of her glamour and her looks, she was a remarkable human being.
Yes.
For one thing, her judgment was much better than mine.
Okay.
I must admit. कई बार मुझे कहते थे ये आदमी crook है और वाकई after 10 years it turned out that the man was a crook.
Yes.
She was a better judge of character than I was, number one. Number two, she had a good political judgment also. And thirdly, when she made friends, she made not very many friends. But the ones she made, she was really loyal to them, and they were loyal to her.
Yes.
Your mother, for example, was an example.
Yes.
Where she and Yasho to get on so well.
Yes, they had a deep friendship.
Deep friendship. So she was always there. She would go to the hospital if somebody's ill. She would send them a little present. And all. She was very thoughtful and very shrewd. Much shrewder than I.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes.
I was more of an idealist.
Yes.
She was more down to the ground.
You seem, when you talk about her, there's so much passion in your eyes even now. And I'm sure you and her were one of the most sought after couples and good looking couples in all those years. I mean, because she was so beautiful, and you are still so good looking.
Thank you.
So I wasn't born that time, but I'm sure.
She passed away on our 60th wedding anniversary.
Oh my God.
60
okay.
years. It's a long time we spent together, by God's grace.
Yes.
And
now you have 3 beautiful great grandchildren.
we had 3 children.
Yes.
2 boys and a girl.
Yes.
The girl is Jyotsna, whom you know.
Yes.
The 2 boys, Vikramaditya, who looks after Kashmir,
Yes.
and Ajat Shatru, who looks after Jammu. You see, these are 2 different worlds.
Okay.
We have a property in Kashmir and a property in Jammu. So I've given one to one, one to the other, so that they don't step on each other's
toes. Okay. And what are you doing in Kashmir? Of course, I know you've opened a boutique hotel.
Jammu, there's a hotel.
Oh, in Jammu also you have
Hari Hotel.
Okay.
And there are orchards and there are schools in Jammu.
Okay,
DPS,
so he looks after that. Yes.
He and his wife Ritu is very active.
Okay.
Chitra is active here in this mentally handicapped children, you know.
So you have a beautiful family who's looking after all and taking your culture and heritage forward.
I'm relaxed. I do my books and I do my book releases and I do my lectures.
And why did you renounce your title of the Maharaja?
Because, you know, I felt that it was not appropriate in the free India. Secondly, Maharaja was a title that I hadn't worked for. I happened to be born the son of a Maharaja, so Maharaja.
Yes.
But PhD, I slogged for.
Yes.
So I say, please call me Dr. Karan Singh. Your doctorate मैंने कमाई है. महाराजा तो ऊपर से मिली मुझे बचपन से. No big deal.
Very few people would have given that up, and you know that.
Gave it up totally. And you know, I know a lot of people still have darbars and jewelry and all. I frankly think that you see, my role, you asked in this, what has been your role? My role, Anjali, this is important for you to grasp. My role essentially was to lead the transition from feudalism to democracy.
Yes.
I was the biggest state in India, but I fought elections, I came into the center, I set a tone which then was followed by a lot of other people.
Yes.
So it was this movement from feudalism to democracy that I spearheaded. That has been my historic achievement.
I was not going to ask this question, but when you said you gave up your title, what are your views on Sonia ji giving up her title? Again, very few people.
She didn't have a title, person.
No, she got Prime Minister, a candidate, and she decided not to take it.
Why did she not agree? You see, nobody really knows to this day why she didn't agree. There are many theories.
Yes.
But I think she was wise in a way to try and draw back and allow somebody else to do the actual slogging work and just look into the philosophy.
But why I asked about her and you, because you had both of you in different aspects, but had the guts to give such a big title up. Like say she had the opportunity to be...
Interesting combination.
Yes.
I never thought of it that way.
Yes, you have to have some level of selflessness in your conscience or heart to give it, whether it's you
and self-consciousness, self-confidence that you don't need the title.
You're above the title.
I'm known as Karan Singh, not as because I'm the Maharaja of Jammu Kashmir.
Yes.
And they're no longer these people have all been abolished. But I wanted to be known for myself.
Exactly. So that's what
Same thing with Sonia, I think.
She gave up. I mean, she had the opportunity. How people fight to be Prime Minister.
Yes.
I mean, you're seeing
alliance. And the party was urging her. I was in that meeting that night.
Yes.
Everybody got up and said, I didn't. Everybody got up and said, you must become Prime Minister, you must become Prime Minister. I knew that she would do exactly what she wanted to do. And she had taken a decision that she didn't want to become Prime Minister.
That shows what solid, powerful people you're from within, that you don't need a title to prove who you are.
No, perhaps.
And very few people would give it up. And that's what inspires me about you and her. Because saying is one thing, doing is another. And actually having that title in front of your eyes and that opportunity and you not taking it is like a miracle in my personal view.
Know.
And this, as I said, this show, Angie's India, is about the individual, the soul, the miracles, and the judgments and decisions and contributions that everyone has done. Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Pleasure.
And I'm sure that the viewers are going to love this because it's not about a doctored interview. It's from my heart, the questions and all the answers I can see.
The good questions. I answered also very...
Yes. Thank you so much. And as you know, I'm an architect and from my little online store, I've got a small gift from you from Angie Homes.
Thank you.
Something very small.
Thank you so much.
I hope you like it.
Thank you, Angie.
And thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Pleasure.
So that was our interview with Dr. Karan Singh. He has been a politician, the governor of Jammu and Kashmir, the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha member. He is an institution by himself. Thank you so much for watching this show. Look forward to seeing you in our next show. Thank you.